Hello, happy Monday. Welcome to TV Guide Live. I'm Mickey O'Connor, and with me today I have my colleagues Liz Raftery and Liam Matthews. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Great.
Thanks for being here. Today we're going to talk about the Republican National Convention, which starts tonight, burning questions about the second episode of HBO's The Night Of, the new Netflix show Stranger Things, starring Winona Ryder, and then put your thinking caps on because we're going to start a new segment of TV trivia. In the meantime, though, if you have any questions about TV, please send them now to @TVGuide on Twitter with the hashtag TVGLive or on Facebook in the comments below, and we'll answer them at the end of the show. All right, let's get to it. The first thing we're going to talk about is the Republican National Convention. So I don't know if you guys saw last night on 60 Minutes. Donald Trump was on with Governor Pence. There's a bunch of great highlight reels from last night.
Who did the interview?
Leslie Stahl.
Okay.
And, you know, I think the fact that there was an interviewer there was kind of a formality because basically there were no questions that were answered necessarily. It was more just kind of a lot of talking.
He just freestyled?
Yeah. And Governor Pence, I have to say, did not say a lot.
Yeah.
I think that was kind of the opportunity for us to get to know who this guy is because unless you're from, Indiana, I think there's very few headlines about this guy. Although there are a few pretty negative headlines nationally, and he didn't really talk at all. I mean, I guess you can imagine that because he was sitting next to Donald Trump. But anyhow, tonight is the big show in Cleveland, and each night of the Republican National Convention is going to have a theme.
Yeah.
You want to talk about the themes, Liz?
Tonight is Make America Safe Again.
Yeah.
Tomorrow is Make America Work Again. Wednesday is Make America First Again, and Thursday is Make America One Again.
One again.
Yeah.
Right.
Unless you're a Muslim.
Right, then not so much. But so it's interesting, the lineup tonight includes a lot of people, including Donald Trump's wife, Melania, Willie Robertson, who's the patriarch from Duck Dynasty,
Cool.
and former Governor Rick Perry of Texas, Pat Smith, who's the mother of a Benghazi victim, Sean Smith, and a few other Marines who fought in Benghazi. Antonio Sabato Jr., who you know from soap operas and other things.
I don't know who that is. I actually looked him up on Wikipedia earlier today, and I've already forgotten.
I think I was saying earlier, I think he was also on the Playboy Club,
Yeah,
right?
he was on Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah, he was on Dancing with the Stars, and Rudy Giuliani. But let's not bury the lead. We'll talk about the elephant that's in the room. The other person who's speaking tonight is Scott Baio.
That's right.
Who, depending on your age, you might know Scott Baio from Happy Days, from Joni Loves Chachi, from Charles in Charge, but also you might know him from Arrested Development. And we've been sitting here while we're waiting to go live saying blah, blah, blah over and over and over again because he played that character on Arrested Development. So what do you guys think about Scott Baio being the voice of the Republican Party tonight?
I feel like his name is, always gets bandied about as like, celebrities you didn't know were conservative or something.
Right.
But I think it's kind of odd that he actually has this, prominent platform that, that he's going to be speaking at. It's kind of a big deal.
I think it's sort of a pop culture joke that, like, Republicans have the worst celebrities. Like, they can't, get people. But, like, Liam wrote a story this weekend, actually, about Scott Baio joining the thing. And one of the things you pointed out was his recent social media action, right?
Yeah.
So he tweeted something that basically called Hillary Clinton a really bad word, the worst one you can think of, that you can call a woman. And also, like, kind of tried to slither out of the fact that he had implied that...
Yeah, it was like, you read into it what you want to read into it.
Right. What does that say about you if you... So anyhow...
I also love that Antonio Sabato Jr. is an Italian immigrant. So, like...
Is he?
Yeah,
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay. I mean, it's not all immigrants. He's not against
I think
all
it's getting
immigrants.
there. We're getting to that point.
Right. So I think it's interesting. The other interesting thing is that Melania is speaking tonight, but like usually the wife of the candidate is like the last person to speak, and then they introduce the candidate. But guess who's in that spot?
Ivanka.
Ivanka. Yeah, his daughter. So I thought that was kind of interesting. What are you guys looking forward to watching? Are you gonna? I mean, it's tough. It's like so long. Like, how do you watch the whole thing? But like,
to be honest, I'm probably only gonna watch Thursday to see Trump's speech.
Yeah.
I might watch Wednesday to see what Pence has to say, but yeah.
Right. So it's all the networks are doing something with it. Twitter and CBS News are collaborating. They're doing something with CBSN, which is online. PBS and NPR are collaborating. They're doing a whole 8 to 11 tonight and every night. But then most of the networks, I think ABC, NBC, CBS, they're all doing like an hour each night, I think, from 10 to 11.
Yeah. I mean, of course, CNN and Fox News and
CNN's
MSNBC
doing 9 to 11, right?
I think so, but online they're having like 24/7 coverage because it actually starts, in the afternoons. There's all these events and everything.
Right.
So.
Okay, so let's move on to this new show that's called Stranger Things. As Liam said yesterday, it's the Winona-sance.
The Winona-sance.
Winona Ryder.
Hopefully.
Right, hopefully. Winona Ryder stars on this show. It's kind of interesting. Winona Ryder was so huge when I was like in high school and college. She was in all kinds of movies, and then she kind of aged out or something. She like stopped getting jobs. She also was arrested for shoplifting.
Free Winona.
Free Winona. There was a great actually profile of her in the New York Times yesterday that talked about sort of that lull and like what she did. She moved to San Francisco and she kind of like had a different life. But then she was in Black Swan. She was in Show Me a Hero, which you were a big fan of.
Yeah.
And then these guys, the Duffer Brothers, Matt and Ross, who created this show called Stranger Things for Netflix, decided to cast her. And these guys they kind of come out of nowhere actually in creating the show. They wrote a few episodes of Wayward Pines.
Yeah.
But they said the reason why they cast her was because she had an essential Winona-ness, which they described as a very intense energy, a wiry unpredictability, and a sort of anxiousness, which I think is kind of accurate for this show. It's about a kid who goes missing under suspicious circumstances, and a lot of factors come into play, both supernatural and not. What did you think of this show? I think you didn't watch it, right, Liz?
I haven't watched it. Is it like 10 episodes? Like
it's 8 episodes.
Oh, which is great, because Netflix usually they do 13. It's too long.
Yeah.
8 is great.
13's too long. That's where we are. So anyhow, what did you think?
I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it. It reminded me, every moment of it reminded me so much of E.T.
Right. I was going to say, you know how sometimes when you're on a website and it says, if you like this, you should watch that? And it's a lot of times you kind of say, yeah, all right, whatever. But this one, I think that if they put this under E.T., The Goonies, Stephen King novels, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, War Games, John Hughes movies, anything, it's such a weird, sort of accurate, highly detailed time capsule of the 80s. I think they get a lot of the details really right. And, it's kind of fun. It's a drama and it's scary, but it's also has some humor to it. The kids are really funny. I really liked it. I've only watched the first 4, but...
Yeah, I saw the first 4 too, but I enjoyed the whole thing, really. It's comforting in a way.
How scary is it?
It's scarier than you think it
moments.
would be.
Okay.
There's a few reveals of creatures.
Yeah, there's a creature
Are there
that's
any
kind of
snakes in
scary.
it?
No snakes.
No
Okay,
snakes.
all right.
Not yet.
Okay, I can watch it.
Yeah. But I really liked it, and I think that the acting is all pretty good. It's written really tight. It's not it's sometimes when you're watching stuff that has horror themes or thrillers, the people all seem really dumb, and it's they're don't go out there or whatever. But it's not like that. It's not written that way. I do think that a lot of the themes of say Spielberg films are alive in this. The kids know what's best and the adults are all idiots. You can't really trust them. There's actually a lot of the sort of camera work from the Spielberg stuff where you see adults from the knees down and it's really there's nothing subtle about the homages.
No, not at all.
I mean, I think that there's a lot of there's scenes with the kids riding on their bicycles that seem straight out of E.T. And even the font that they use for the is it's what they used in the Stephen King novels. It's directly taken off from that. But I really liked it. I would recommend it to people. I'm curious to see how it wraps up. And Winona Ryder, as we mentioned, is excellent. So I just want to remind everyone to send us your questions. You can tweet them to us at TV Guide, use the hashtag TVGLive, or put them in the comments below on Facebook. All right, next up, we're going to talk about the night of. Liz,
Yep.
this is your jam.
Episode 2. Yeah.
Episode 2, even though you've already watched the whole damn thing.
Well, not the finale, but
Right. Let's talk about episode 2.
yes.
There were a few. So you wrote a piece today on the site about your burning
My
questions.
burning questions.
Yeah.
My
so let's
biggest
talk about
question is like, what is up with the detective? Like, he's behaving so strangely.
them. Right.
Like, in this episode, he takes an inhaler from the crime scene and
Yeah.
gives it back to the murder suspect.
Right.
And I'm not a cop, but I don't think you're supposed to do stuff like that. And
He also like gave him clothes to wear so that he wouldn't be wearing a jumpsuit.
yeah, like a Harvard T-shirt.
A Harvard T-shirt.
To wear to prison or something.
Yeah, and he also, but it's weird because don't you feel like at the same time that he's being nice to the guy, that he's also sort of trying to prove the fact that he's convinced that he did this to other people? Like he spent the whole episode talking to like the DA and
Yeah.
like other cops, like trying to like.
And I think, I've said this even after episode 1, maybe it is just like an extra, he's really going in on the good cop act, but it doesn't feel that way to me. It feels like he's got some other stake in this, and I can't figure out what it is.
Yeah, I think he's definitely trying to get him to reveal information because he's not a sophisticated subject
Right.
Yeah.
or
Right.
suspect. Like he can get him to, reveal whatever it is he knows if he leans on him the right way.
Yeah. I don't know what, like, you've been watching it too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think it's so, I can't figure out what's going on with him.
And then we also met Andrea's stepfather last
Yeah,
night.
who's
which was-
super creepy.
Yeah,
He
and
was
so
from Boardwalk Empire. He was almost unrecognizable. He was Mickey. What was his name? Mickey Spinelli. Was that his name?
O'Connor? No.
He was the. Remember, he was the giggling bootlegger guy.
Maybe I don't
didn't
know.
watch
My
Boardwalk
memory
Empire.
of Boardwalk
was
Empire is
great.
gone. But yeah, so there was that weird moment where like he was looking at pictures of her from the crime scene, and he was like, "Oh no,
Like,
that's not her."
Yeah.
And then he was like, "Why don't we go look at the body?" And he was like, "Oh no, wait, it
No,
is her."
no, it's her. Just kidding. Like, what?
It was so
I don't-
strange. It was
yeah.
very strange. And he mentioned something about like an inheritance and how he didn't get any money when Andrea's mother, his former wife, died. Or
Yeah, they
something like
weren't
that.
married that long. Andrea has the apartment. I think he said that he's living in Queens, which is also where Nas lives. But yeah, he was also real
I mean, I
shady.
suspect that he's going to be like the first in like a slew of people that show up that are kind of like they could have done it. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, if the people making the show are worth their salt, I would imagine they're going to give us a lot of potential suspects.
Yeah,
so.
definitely.
Oh, actually, you've watched it, so you know they do. Yeah.
Yeah, well, no spoilers.
That's
but-
what I mean. Yeah, and so all right, so I'm going to ask this after every episode. Do you think Nas did it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't right now. Yeah.
So by yeah, you mean no?
By yes, I mean no. But I agree with you that like, if you're gonna ask it after every episode, that people's answers could
They're gonna change. Yeah.
Yeah. Right now, I'm still with no. I don't think he did it. But we'll see what happens.
I thought last night's episode made me think that he didn't do it, but I also thought, like, how horrible to be accused of a crime that you didn't commit.
Right.
Like, when you saw everything that happens to him through the process of booking and, like, detainment, but also, like, what happens to his family and,
Yeah.
like, they steal, they take the computer and,
And it's like his lawyer, John Turturro, says to him, think of it like the jury. Like, did you do it? Like, your fingerprints are all over the crime
Right,
scene.
right.
Her blood's on
the
you.
truth
You
doesn't
had
matter.
the knife in
Like,
your
he kept
pocket.
saying that the truth doesn't matter.
Right.
Like, what's the story that we tell?
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
good was Turturro this episode?
Yeah,
He was
he's
great.
really good.
Yeah.
Although I have to say, if I see his feet one more time,
You're gonna see a lot of his feet. Like,
eczema. There, but for the grace of God.
yeah.
All right, so let's move on. So this is a new segment that I'm very excited about. We don't have a name for it yet. If anyone has any ideas for what the name of it should be, write in. We're calling it TV trivia for now.
It's great.
Yeah, it's pretty creative.
What is it?
So basically, I'm going to ask a question, and I'm going to list 3 television shows, and you have to tell me what those 3 television shows have in common. They have a very specific thing in common, and just to tell you, it's not necessarily about thematic commonalities or anything like that. It's something more specific than that. So the 3 shows are 6 Feet Under, Desperate Housewives, and Transparent. And I'll give you a little bit of a hint, or I'll tell you what it's not.
Okay.
A woman named Jill Soloway was a producer on. She was a producer on 6 Feet Under, and she was also a producer on Transparent. Obviously, she's the creator of Transparent. Has nothing to do with her. So anyhow, so you should put your answer in the comments below on Facebook or tweet it to us with the hashtag TVG Live. Any ideas?
I have no idea. I've been thinking about this since you
Yeah.
posed it in an email a couple hours ago, and I have not.
You're familiar with all 3 shows, obviously,
Yeah.
right?
That actually, is that what it is? They're all 3 shows that I watched. I don't watch
It's
them.
all about you, Liz.
Yeah.
It's like the world
Okay.
revolves around you.
Were they all set in the same town?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. Well, Desperate Housewives,
They
they
all
never
had-
really said where it
I guess
where it
that's
took
true.
place. They had it was called like Eagle City or something like that. It was,
Oh, okay.
Wisteria Lane.
anyhow, yeah, I'm curious to see if people come up with that. So let's take a look and see if we have any questions today. Let's see. Bianca on Facebook asks, what channel can we watch the Republican National Convention? All right, Bianca, we went a little quickly through that, but basically any of the broadcast networks are going to have the convention on probably from 10 to 11.
Yeah, highlights and key speeches.
Right, and then PBS is doing 8 to 11, and CNN's doing 9 to 11, and then CBS News is collaborating with Twitter, and they're actually doing a live stream of the convention. I think it's actually live now, right? Like I think that they're doing it all day today.
Yeah.
On CBSN, which is cbsnews.com/live. Is that right?
I
Yeah.
I think that's right.
I think you can go to cbsn.com and it'll take you there.
Yeah, that's true. All right, let's see. Someone named Steriline Team on Facebook asks, could you give us more details about the new article the TV Guide released about Steriline and TVD today? We'd like to know if you have more details. So, Liz, you're the editor of this piece.
Yes.
So I think that we can't really give any more details about what we have. We can tell you.
You know as much as we know right now, but there's a new character coming onto the show who is potentially going to pose some problems.
She's being positioned as a potential love interest for Stefan.
Yeah.
Or a potential, love ruiner.
Right. She's kind of, not used to being told no, used to getting her own way, and she has her eyes set on him.
Yeah.
So that might pose some problems for
So we're paying attention to this, and we, we'll see, if we get any more information about that, for example, who plays that character or anything like that. But
you'll be the first to know.
for now, that's all we got. I was really nervous about putting that up on the homepage today. I thought the website would go down with all the Steriline fans who are revolting. Let's see. Any more questions? I don't know. We don't have any more questions. I think that, send your questions along. We'll answer them tomorrow. And I think that's it for today. That's it for TV Guide Live today. Thanks, Liz and Liam, for being here. And thank all of you for joining us. Tomorrow, we're going to be live at 2 p.m. Eastern with Caitlin Nacon, do you know how it's pronounced? Nacon, who plays Enid on The Walking Dead, answering your fan questions about Season 7 and a lot more. So send us your questions now at TV Guide on Twitter, hashtag TVG Live, or at facebook.com/TV Guide. We'll answer the trivia question tomorrow, too. Have a good day, everybody. Thanks.